Questions when I'm finished. First of all, I think it's clear to everyone that prior decommissioning is not achievable. Everyone knows that. It isn't in the terms of the agreement. It isn't within the gift of Sinn Fein to deliver. And both the Taoiseach and the Prime Minister have accepted in their statement of returning to the Good Friday Agreement that this is the case. Now, for those who have held this process up on the issue of decommissioning, for those who hold that decommissioning is a crucial issue, for those who are genuine about this, let me spell out to them what is obvious, and that is that decommissioning is not possible except within the terms of the Good Friday Agreement and within the full implementation of that agreement. Now, this particular negotiation was only made possible because, as I have said, both the Taoiseach and the British Prime Minister said that we were returning to the Good Friday Agreement, and also because the Prime Minister from London made it clear that there was a deadline to be imposed by which power would be transferred from Dublin and London. What people in this building have to decide, and political leaderships have to decide, is whether they want this process to collapse, and whether, and particularly, they want to hand the initiative, which is still the best opportunity for peace this century, back to those who are against change, and whether we want to hand victory to those people who have no interest in moving forward, who have no interest in sharing power, who have no interest in justice or equality, over guns which are silent. Whether we want to hand all of this back to those who have no stake in the future, but only in the past. Or whether we move forward in good faith, seeking to implement all aspects of the agreement. And let me say this, when I say all aspects of the agreement, I mean the institutional matters, the constitutional matters, the political, social and economic matters, the whole policing issues, the issues of prisoners, the issues of justice, and the issue of decommissioning. The Sinn Féin will move, and I've always said that we're wedded to implementing all aspects of this agreement and within the terms of the agreement. So I think that people have put forward ideas. We have done so. The governments have put forward ideas. I said this morning, and I haven't spoken to you since, that this was decision day. And it's whether we move forward into the future based, and it's now a cliche and it's been devalued, based on jumping together into the future or lurching backwards into the past. Now, our commitment is to move forward. We've spelt it out. We think it can still be done, but people need to take their courage in their hands and do it. So I take one or two questions. Agus Yanni Shin.
Gerry Adams, has your position moved today?
Yes.
Secondly,
is any I'm Malayan Dinya and Shaw O Tina G. Neil, okay, RTE.
your position moved?
Minister McDonald spoke just a short time ago in prime time and actually praised Sinn Fein. He said you had Sinn and were being very constructive. One of the things they seem to be seeking is an absolute commitment that Sinn Fein believes that there should be total disarmament by May 2000. Is that something that Sinn Fein can give? Is that what is important for them in there?
Well, first of all, let the Unionists speak for themselves. I have spelt out in some length there where we are at in this process. And let there be no doubt. And you know, people here have been in prison. People here have been in struggle for 30 years. People here have been marginalised and censored. And there was a time our voices could not be heard, north or south. People here have suffered. People here have lost friends and comrades and colleagues and neighbours. And we know what it's like. There are other politicians in there who haven't suffered that, whose families haven't suffered that. We also know that we have no monopoly on suffering. We want to work with the Unionists. We know that the Unionists have suffered. We know that the Unionists have suffered at the hands of Republicans. We know that all of us have suffered at the hands of the state and of the British government. And we want to leave that behind us and to move forward together, to have harmony and to have justice and to have freedom on this island. Now, I can't speak for the Unionists, But I want, in this group of people here, and those who we represent, those who have given us a mandate, want to work with the unionist section of our people towards the future. That's what we want to do. And we have to make space for them. But they have to make space for us to be able to do that.
Given what you've just said.
Anywhere in your face-to-face meetings with the Ulster Unionists?
Well, I said before, and I know we've had people out here, press officers out here, briefing, but we've been very circumspect. I know other people have been out briefing and they've been peddling spins and nonsense. The fruits of all of these meetings can only be judged in whether at the end of this phase of negotiations we get the institutions in place, we get an agreement on other deadlocked issues, and we get the entire raft of issues which have been delayed in this agreement moving forward within the terms of the agreement and to the satisfaction of everyone. It would be wrong for me to make any other judgment on the outcome of any meeting or any engagement that we have been involved in today. I'm going to leave it at that. And
Gerry, could I ask you one question?
I wonder if I could ask you, because Tony Blair did say that at Hillsborough you wouldn't jump together, Sinn Fein wouldn't jump together, and that was what brought the process down. When you say you're now ready to jump together, does that mean that you believe simultaneous with triggering the executive you can secure a start to actual...
Well, I told you before I wasn't going to get into any detail, and I want to stress again, for all those decent people out there who vote for Sinn Fein, that they have the same rights to representation, to their analysis, to our view of Irish unity and an Irish republic and justice and freedom to be put as anyone else. And there should be no precondition used to disenfranchise those people north and south on this island who vote for our party. The Unionists have difficulties. I have spelt out my understanding of those difficulties in a general way here, and I have indicated in a general way here our willingness to resolve those difficulties for them. Yes, there's no point jumping on your own.
Mr. Adams,
Yes, sir.
thanks very much.
Have you noticed-
One question, Gerry. Did what was put on the table please the two governments?
Did you stay for a